Hey guys, what's up? This is Michael. Welcome back to the channel. And so I want to talk to you guys today about a movie that I saw last night on Netflix. Now, if you guys out there in YouTube land or in the dojo, if you guys have had the opportunity to see Godzilla Minus One, then you know that it was an awesome movie. And I had the opportunity to watch Godzilla Minus One last night on Netflix. Yes, the world renowned best movie, I would say, of 2023, Godzilla Minus One, is now on Netflix. And it is dubbed, so I am very happy about that. It is dubbed in English. And I really did enjoy this movie. In fact, I was telling somebody last night, um, after the movie, that I think Godzilla Minus One has just become my new favorite Godzilla movie of all time. So I did not have the opportunity to watch Godzilla Minus One when it was in theaters, simply because it was in subtitles. It was not dubbed. So I'm thankful now that it is out on Netflix and that I had the opportunity to watch it because I heard so many good things about it. Now, if you had the opportunity to go see Godzilla Minus One, then you know what a good movie it is. And I know I just said that, but I can't express it enough because I watched it for the very first time last night, and I have to agree with everything. I don't know that there's anything more that I can say about it. If you've heard different reviews from other YouTubers or your favorite YouTubers out there who have talked about Godzilla Minus One, then you know what an awesome movie it is. And so here's my take on it. Um, Honestly, it left me speechless. It was that good that it left me speechless. In fact, when I was thinking last night and this morning of how I was going to present this to you guys or how I was going to talk about it, really one phrase just kept coming up in my mind, and it's, what more can I say that hasn't already been said? This is a hero's journey. This is what Star Wars, the original Star Wars, was. Okay? And we're not talking about Luke Skywalker. We're not talking about a young boy going off into the world. No, we're talking about a kamikaze pilot who, at the beginning of the movie, couldn't complete his mission. He wanted to live. And so essentially, he basically lies and he says that there's something wrong with his plane, there's something wrong with his rig, and he lands to get it repaired. And then you see one of the mechanics come up to him and he says, Shikishima, there's nothing wrong with your rig. We can't find anything wrong with it. And then later that night, we see him again. He's basically like, he knows that he didn't complete his mission, and he is starting to feel shame. And then all of a sudden, you hear the stomping. And we know what it is. The audience, we know what it is. But the characters, at first, they think it's just another bombing run, but it's not. And then you hear that familiar roar, that familiar sound of Godzilla. And here's the thing. I'm sure you've heard this from a bunch of other people, but Godzilla Minus One, this isn't just a regular kaiju movie, okay? This isn't Godzilla versus Kong. This isn't Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. This isn't Godzilla versus, you know, Rodan or some of the other monsters that we know that dwell within the kaiju universe, the Godzilla universe. This isn't even about Godzilla. This is a human story. This is about Japan. This is about Japan's people. This is them essentially asking themselves the question, how do we rebuild after the war? This is everything in shambles. This is a culture of people trying to rebuild their lives and put their lives back together. And it's not easy. And another thing that makes this a hero's journey, but also a human story, is the two characters that come in for this ride. And that's Noriko and Akiko. Noriko, who's just a girl that he happens to meet in his hometown that was destroyed by the air raids, by the bombings. And with her is a baby girl. And that baby girl actually is not hers. And like I said, spoiler, I don't think it's spoilers at this point, because I feel like most of you out there have seen this. But if you haven't, please do. It's on Netflix. Go watch this. But here's the thing is Noriko and Akiko, they bring him back to humanity, and they almost help him to believe again. And I say almost because he lives with PTSD. And if you're a soldier out there, a vet, then you know what PTSD is. And he's living with the guilt, the survivor's guilt. He's living with the guilt of, one, I didn't complete my mission. So I'm living with the guilt and the shame that comes with that. Because you have to understand, for a kamikaze pilot, that was like honor to them. Like, if you committed yourself to make the ultimate sacrifice, that was a huge honor. But if you didn't go through with it, you were shamed. You were literally shamed. And we see that and we feel that. And then when he's at the repair station, when he goes to the repair station after he doesn't complete his mission, he essentially fails again because the mechanics tell him, shoot Godzilla, you've got a 20 miller excuse me, I'm getting all tongue-tied, guys, a 20 millimeter machine gun attached to your plane. You can surely take Godzilla down. And he doesn't pull the trigger because he's afraid. He's afraid. And he's at his lowest. He goes home and he's living in his parents' home where he grew up, and it's basically all but destroyed. Noriko, essentially, when we meet her with Akiko, this little baby girl, she's homeless. And Akiko's own mother gave her to Noriko and said, please take care of my child. And so essentially through the movie, you see this family who really don't know each other. They're a family of strangers who don't know each other, but they make it work. Each of them tries to go find a job. He ends up going, it's an awesome story, guys. And finally at the end of it, he's the one that commits to his mission. And I love this whole movie. I love the ending because you get a whole bunch of veterans together, but they're not just veterans, they're citizens. And they're going out because the government knows about Godzilla. They know about it, but they want to keep it secret because it's basically, they know that if anyone were to catch wind of Godzilla, that they would know that the government screwed up. The veterans, the Navy personnel, they're hesitant at first to go out and do this mission to try to kill Godzilla because they know they don't want to be thrown away again. They want to feel like they're going to do something. What's amazing is it comes through the radio that the U.S. can't help. They're not going to get any outside help to defeat Godzilla. they have to do it themselves. Make no mistake about it. This is a human story, but it's also a hero's journey. We see the hero's journey of a shamed and essentially soldier PTSD climb his way and from the depths of hell, his personal hell, to becoming a hero. We see a nation, a country, a culture that is in ruin, in shambles, come together. And when no one else will help, when no outside force will help, not even their own government will help them, they all come together to fight a monster. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter in this instance, in this moment. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what you've done. What it means is that they all came together to defeat one thing. They came together to defeat Godzilla, not because to kill, but to survive. They came together to live, to make sure that the young have a future to live in. There's a scene in the movie. There were a lot of scenes in this movie, I'm going to say, that really impacted me, but there was one scene in particular. And Shikishima, earlier in the movie, we see him get a job as part of the military disposal unit. And basically, he got on a boat with a bunch of other people, and their job was to go out and get rid of mines that were out in the ocean. And they couldn't use a metal boat because these were magnetic mines. So they used a wooden one. It was actually kind of cool. It was like an old fishing boat. But there was this one young guy on there who they called a greenhorn because he wasn't in the war. He was too young and he wasn't able to join. But this time, when they're coming up with the plan to kill Godzilla, he wants to be a part of it. And after the strategy meeting is over and done with, and everybody's going home to be with their families one last time before they go and do this, he says, "We're going to do it. I know this is going to work." And not Shikishima, but the captain of this whole thing, he says, "You're not coming." And he says, "What?" And he says, "You're not coming." And he says, "Because you're still young." And this kid, he's angry. He's like, "I want to serve my country. I want to do this." And as they're walking away, they say it in their head. It's like a quietly, so he can't hear because, they're walking away from him. And he says, "You still have a life to live. You still have a future. We're doing this for you. That's why you should stay." Because they knew what they were fighting for. And the whole time, a lot of people kept asking in the movie, "Can you guarantee that we're going to come back alive? Can you guarantee that?" And the thing is, they kept giving them hope that the plan would work. They were so optimistic about the plan working. And Shikishima's motivation was, not only was he feeling survivor's remorse and regret, and that turmoil that comes with it, But see, he feels that he wants to take revenge on Godzilla because Godzilla killed Noriko. And so he asks himself, constantly he asks himself in that movie, do I have the right to live? Do I have the right to dream? To follow my dreams? And when he thinks that Godzilla has taken Noriko away from him, he screams. He lets it all out. He cries. Because in that moment, he feels, I was a fool for believing that I could live. And so he commits himself once again to defeating Godzilla. Only this time, he asks for a fighter, a plane. And he goes to the only mechanic that he knows he can go to, Tachibana. And Tachibana, he rigs a plane with the explosives so that Shikishima can go into Godzilla's mouth and blow him up from the inside. And here's the thing. It works. But Shikishima doesn't die because, you see, what Tachibana did, if you guys know the movie, is installed an injector seat. And Tachibana tells him, do me a favor, Shikishima-san. Live. And he does. And it's amazing. At the end, you see all of the soldiers, all of the men that helped in the operation salute him, like I salute you guys. Their mission was a success. So at the end, a neighbor of his runs up to him with a note that they found Noriko and she's alive. And he goes to the hospital. He takes Akiko, their new adoptive daughter, and she looks at him from her hospital bed. She lost her right eye. Well, she actually has a bandage over her right eye. And he lays his head in her lap. And she asks him, is your war finally over? And he starts to cry. And he says, yes. Because he finally found his peace. He finally was able to do the one thing that he wanted to do. He had a second chance, and he was able to live. Another thing that I can say about this movie, guys, is I love the music in this. I just loved it. The music that was building when they were getting ready to do the operation. The music that they played when Shikishima was in his aircraft, circling Godzilla, watching him, waiting for the right time, distracting him. The classic Godzilla music that we all know when Godzilla's rampage going through the city, destroying Gunzen. This is an awesome movie. If you haven't seen Godzilla -1, it's on Netflix right now. I implore you, please, go watch this movie because this has become one of my favorite Godzilla movies of all time. I loved 2019. I think it was 2019. No, I think it could have been 2018. I think 20. No, it was 2019. I love 2019's Godzilla King of All Monsters. I do. I haven't seen Godzilla X Kong yet, but if you had to ask me right now, what is my favorite Godzilla movie? It's Godzilla Minus One. Hands down. 10 out of 10. I'm going to say it, guys. Japan knocked it out of the park. This was a good movie. Yes, it was somewhat of a monster movie. And I say somewhat because you don't see that much of Godzilla. You do see him, but he's not the main focus of the story. Here's the thing. Japan told us a story. And they not only told us a good story, they gave us the hero's journey, the hero's way. And that's something I think that we all can learn from. Go check out Godzilla Minus One. After you click off this video, what are you waiting for? Go do it. Sensei says go do it. Go do it right now. Because you know what? I want to go watch it again myself. It was that good. And there's one other thing I want to say before we get out of here, guys. Arigato. Arigato gozaimasu. Thank you. Thank you, Japan, for telling us this story. And I hope that we can learn from that story and we can return to good storytelling once again. Anyway, guys, thanks for checking out this video today. Man, this was a really awesome movie. I'm glad that I got to save some words on it. Like I said, this was awesome. You guys know what to do, right? Hit that like button. Please share this sucker out there. Hit that notification bell so you know when I come up with another video. And leave me a comment below. Did you watch Godzilla Minus One? And if you have, what were your thoughts? In fact, tell me, did you guys go see it in theaters? Or are you guys going to watch it on Netflix? And maybe if you did watch it in theaters, are you going to watch it again now that it's on Netflix? Let me know in the comments below. Remember, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go make it an anime day. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Arigatou gozaimasu. Bye.